Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the final video of 2023. It is my reading wrap up of the year. So this is the first year. I only got back into reading this year. I kind of started December 2022 wanting to try and start reading a little bit more, and I set a goal to read 23 books in the year of 2023. And as of, I've got my reading journal here to help me out here. As of the 4th of April, I hit that 23 goal. So then I changed it to 50, and I can't remember when I hit that. And then I changed it to 75. And I was getting really close to 75, and I thought, you know what? I still had 4 months, I think, of the year, and I thought, I think I can do this. So I changed it to 100. And as of the 28th, yes, because it was Thursday morning. As of the 28th of December, I read my 100th book of the year. And I am honestly very impressed with myself. I'm not one who sticks to goals very well, but I'm also not one to really stick to hobbies very well. I usually kind of pick things up, put them down, and kind of that's it. So I really am so surprised. I mean, I've gone from having 40 books to this. All of these books have been read, and this bookshelf, aside from the BTS shelf at the bottom, it's getting quite full, to be honest. And then obviously this is my TBR shelf. We won't go through that. Collecting books is a separate hobby, let's be real. But I just feel like I've really impressed myself, and it just shows how much I can do if I really put my mind to it. And yeah, I tend to hyperfixate on things. I'm waiting for an ADHD assessment. Okay, it is what it is. So the fact that I've managed to essentially hyperfixate on reading for a full year is quite astounding to me. And I feel like now, because it's been a full year, it is more of a habit than it is a hyperfixation. And I'm just really happy with that. I think it's a good hobby. It's a healthy hobby. It's a good way for me to unwind and to not think and just for my brain to turn off. I find it's really helping with sort of managing anxiety, because it's something that's good for my brain. It means I'm not thinking about other things, and I'm learning through mostly smut. No, but I obviously next year I want to broaden my horizons a little bit and read a few different genres. But yeah, it's been a really good, really fun year, and I'm very proud of myself for managing to keep this up and read 100 books. I used to hate reading when I was forced to keep like a reading diary at school and be like, this is what I read this week and this is what the book was about. I hated that because I had to read. And then I got into what Americans would call high school, I guess. And because I didn't have to read, I started enjoying it. We had quite a good library at school, and I found that, yeah, I was reading a lot more. So yeah, I found that I was reading a lot more at school and I was enjoying it again. And then I kind of fell off it, to be honest. And then I got on the fan fiction bandwagon in like 2020 and spent like 2 years reading mostly fan fiction. So I was reading, but it was fan fiction. So I couldn't quantify how much I was reading because it just says how many words there is on AO3. Bear in mind, yeah, I read AO3 fan fiction. Okay, I grew out of my Wattpad phase. I was a Wattpad girl when I was 15. Okay, I am past that. I am AO3 fan fictions, and yes, listen, if you like a Wattpad fan fiction, that is fine. I grew up on Wattpad. If you want good fan fiction, like actual literary genius, go on AO3. Trust me. Obviously not all of it is, but there are some that are very good. So yeah, reading as a whole was something I enjoyed, but I think I actually read more this year than I did previously. And in 2020, when I first got into fan fiction, I wasn't working. None of us really were, but I wasn't anyway. I have had a full-time job this whole year that I've been reading, and I've managed to read 100 books. Like, that is mad. I mean, I don't really have a social life, but that is neither here nor there. So anyway, I thought I would show you in my reading journal. I've actually been setting up my pages, or starting to, for 2024. But obviously I didn't get through very much of this, so I'm just continuing with the same journal. So it's not the best, okay? I'm not very good at arts and crafts. So yeah, this is my like title page with cherry blossom washi tape. This one is from... what's it called? I'll leave the link in the description. It's Notebook something. It's like a... What's it called? I'll leave a link in the description what the thing called. Anyway, yeah, this was my 2023 spread. So this one, I wanted to read 23 books in 2023, so I was going to put all of them here. And it's got the dates and when they were read. So One True Loves was, it goes kind of along this way, and then, so One True Loves was the last one. And then I did these bookshelves, which I showed my mum before and she loved them. So it's like January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. No, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So I had a whole lot left. So I probably didn't need to use this. I've worked it out better for this year. So in January, I read 5 books. I read You Had Me at Hello by Mary McFarlane, 13 Weddings by Paige Toon, If I Stay by, why can't I see her name? Gail Forman, Where She Went by Gail Forman, Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. February. I'm just going to do a quick rundown because my mum had COVID over Christmas. So I'm actually going for my Christmas day with my mum today in 20 minutes. So I'm going to quickly get through this. In February, I read 9 books. So I read The Flat Chair by Beth O'Leary, Book Lovers by Emily Henry, Get a Life Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, Take a Hint Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert, Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, Verity by Colleen Hoover, With This Kiss by Carrie Hope Fletcher, and Actual Age Edith Brown by Talia Hibbert. March, I read 7 books. So I started off with the Inheritance Games series. I read all 3 by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Then The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams, Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang, and Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. In April, I read 9 books. So I read Promises and Pomegranates by Sav R. Miller, One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, Vipers and Virtuosos by Sav R. Miller, The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, 3 Swedish Mountain Men by Lily Gould, Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus, Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark, Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, and Twisted Love by Anna Huang. Then in May, I continued on the Twisted series. I read 7 books in total. So I read the other 3 Twisted series books. Faking with Benefits by Lily Gould, Hooked by Emily McIntyre, The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon, and A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. So of course I continued. In June I read 7 books. I finished the rest of the ACOTAR series, A Court of Mist and Fury. I still think about it daily, to be honest with you. I read It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, Hook, Line and Sinker by Tessa Bailey, and The Forward Line by K.G. Erin. In August I read 12 books. I read King of Wrath and King of Pride by Anna Huang, The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy, the whole Chestnut Spring series, aside from the last book that hadn't come out yet, Black Ties and White Lies by Kat Singleton, Bad Girl Reputation by Elle Kennedy, Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer, and The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. In September, I read 4 books. I basically read the Priest series by Sierra Simone, the 3 books and the novella. That's all I read in September. In October, I read 11 books. I read The X-Hex and The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling, Wildfire by Hannah Grace, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana, My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine, Stolen Heir and Savage Lover, actually the rest of the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark, and A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. In November, I read 10 books. I read the If Love series by Anna Huang, Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score, One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus, Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerry Maniscalco, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yaros, Iron Flame by Rebecca Yaros, and Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. And finally, in December, I read 9 books. I read Kingdom of the Cursed and Kingdom of the Feared by Kerry Maniscalco, King of Greed by Anna Huang, Hopeless by Elsie Silver, Window Shopping and Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey, Love Light Farms by B.K. Barrison, Big Nick Energy by, I'm not going to lie, I haven't put the thing yet, so I forgot the name of the author, I'll put it here, and then Same Time Next Year, also by Tessa Bailey. And that is the 100 books I read this year. I think I'm going to have to finish this video later. Okay, I have to go to my mum's. This video is going to have to be finished later. I left myself not enough time, so the lighting will be changed by the time I'm back. I'll see you shortly. Okay, we're back. It's later in the day. The lighting's probably not that great, but we're just going to go with it. So, I can't remember fully where I left off. I think I told you about the books I read last year. Okay, I'm going to go over some of the books that really stood out to me this year. So, one of the books, weirdly enough, that really stands out to me is Verity by Colin Hoover, because it's the first kind of more thrillery book I've probably ever read. And that book, I read it during my first 24-hour reading challenge, and it really just threw me for a loop. And I think about it so often, it's not even funny. I think it was just really well executed. It was really fun. It had you like on the edge of your seat all the time, and you were like, what is happening? So I did really enjoy that book. I think, what did I rate Verity again? I rated Verity 4 stars. I probably would even bump that now to 4.5. I think a lot of ratings from the beginning of the year I maybe would change, because I kind of was like not sure how I was rating things, and didn't realize I would read so many good books later on where I'm like, this is amazing. So I don't know. Another one that stands out that's not like my normal genre of books was probably the Inheritance Games. That whole series was, again, really fun, and I don't think I really guessed anything that was going to happen. Aside from like the final book, that like kind of plot twist I did kind of guess, but that was more, it was like a feeling throughout the book. But aside from that, again, they're YA, so not really my kind of book normally. But It Must Just Be Jennifer Lynn Barnes just has something, it didn't feel like a YA book, if that makes sense. Kind of like how I read One of Us is Lying later on in the year. That felt like a YA. And I felt like I was too old to really read it. Whereas I felt like with the Inheritance Games, I didn't feel that way at all. The only annoying thing was obviously the best friend not doing actual swear words. That was really kind of cringe and annoying. But aside from that, I really enjoyed it. Obviously, Icebreaker I think about on a daily basis. So March was a good month, because Punk 57 I really enjoyed, The Cheat Sheet I really enjoyed. The only like meh book was probably The Kiss Quotient, which I did rate 3.5. I probably would just rate 3 now. But Icebreaker, I just loved that book. I loved it with my whole heart. I still do. I love Nathan Hawkins. Yes. Another one that really stand out, obviously I love The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but when I think about Taylor Jenkins Reid, I more think of One True Loves. That book broke my heart. It really did. I actually watched the film just a couple days ago, and one thing about the book, I really feel like you don't know who she's going to pick until the very end. Like, until she's picked, you don't know. But with the movie, it was so obvious who she was going to pick, and I just hated it. And the acting was also kind of weird. It was like either they were overacting or underacting. It was really weird. But yeah, loved the book, One True Loves. I read it one day. I read it pretty much in one sitting. It just absolutely broke my heart. It was very well done. Obviously, the Twisted series is a big series for me this year. I think if I hadn't read Chestnut Springs, it would probably be my favourite series of the year for just regular romance. But Chestnut Springs absolutely blew every book I've ever read out of the park, aside from A Court of Mist and Fury, which is on a different level because it's fantasy. But I love the Twisted series. My order of books is actually the reverse order of when they came out. So it's Twisted Lies, Twisted Hate, Twisted Games, and Twisted Love. I prefer in that order. But for the men, it's probably like Christian and Reese are very on par, then Josh, then Alex. But I still really like Alex. That's the thing. A lot of people don't like Twisted Love. People don't like Alex, and I like I understand, but I do really like Alex. But one of the girls I work with and one of my friends do not like Reese, and I do not understand. I really just don't understand how you can not like Reese. But we're ignoring that, okay? Whereas my other friend loves Reese as much as I do, but she hates Josh because of what happens at the end of Twisted Lies. No, because of what happens at the end of Twisted Hate, and I didn't really think it was all that bad. It wasn't great, but considering the context, could have been worse. Obviously, there's also the ACOTAR series that I read this year. I really want to get into Throne of Glass next year. ACOTAR, especially Court of Mist and Fury. I think I rated ACOTAR was 4 stars. Yeah, and then A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Rings and Ruin, and A Court of Silver Flames was all 5 stars. I didn't bother rating the novella A Court of Frost and Starlight because I just find it hard to rate novellas, but I did really like it as like a little easy short read to kind of still be in the world, but it's low stakes. It's just cozy. It was kind of set at winter time. I read it in the height of summer this year, though. I read it in June. We were having a heat wave. I was outside sunbathing, reading A Court of Frost and Starlight. Meanwhile, in Valaris, it was the winter solstice. But anyway, it was just a nice reprieve from two very like high stress books. I feel like my best reading month for like what I rated for the books and how highly they were rated was probably July, because we had 3 Emily Henry books rating 5 stars. Then the Dreamland Billionaire series, which was 4 stars, 4.5, and then 5 stars. And then we had the first 2 in the Knock 'Em Out series were both 5 stars. And then It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us was 4 stars. So it's like nothing was below a 4 stars. But that is still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5 stars in 1 month. That is mad. I already mentioned the Chestnut Spring series. My best friend is currently reading the Chestnut Spring series finally, and it's making me really want to reread them already. I only read them in August, and I'm just dying to reread them. I absolutely love those books. They are so good. I especially really want to reread Heartless because that's the one she's just read, and I just miss Daddy Cade, to be honest. I miss Daddy Cade. I also really loved the Brutal Birthright series. So I read the first one in April, and I didn't read the rest of the series until October. So I read the first one during my 24-hour reading challenge, and I read it on Kindle Unlimited. And then I bought all the books, and then just apparently didn't read them for months. But I read them all, physical copies, just binged them pretty much. It took me, I was the 17th of October until the 28th. It took me 11 days to read the 5 books, so that's not too bad, to be honest. That's really not bad. And I love that series. I have got the Kingmaker series up there by Sophie Lark, which follows their kids. So I really want to get to that probably like sooner rather than later in the new year. Because the little like epilogue at the end of Heavy Crown, which is like showing the beginning of that starting, I was like, ooh, this is interesting. So I'm looking forward to reading those. I think the final book that I really feel like I just connected with this year was obviously Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. They were both 5 stars. I'm still not over the ending of Iron Flame, and I think about Fourth Wing on a daily basis. It's the fact we don't even know how long we're going to have to wait for the next one. I just don't know what to do with my life now. Luckily, I have so many books to kind of keep me occupied that I should hopefully be okay. But it's still very painful, nonetheless, not gonna lie. It's kind of a brief wrap-up. I'm gonna go through, because Goodreads had like a wrap-up thing going on, so let me find, I took 2 screenshots. So I took a screenshot of me, there we go, that's the completed challenge. Very, very happy with myself, I have to say. So there's a My Year in Books. I might add the photo in or something, but it says I read 100 books, obviously. It says pages read 39,645. That is mad. That is so close to 40,000 pages. If I had read like basically one more book, that would have been 40,000 pages. That is mad. Let me see what the other stats were. So the shortest book I read was Same Time Next Year by Tessa Bailey, which was 144 pages. But that is 144 Kindle pages. So it probably would be less if it was a physical book, but I think it's only on Kindle. The longest book I read was Iron Flame, which is 640 pages. Average book length this year was 396 pages. My average rating was 4 stars. Probably 4.5 because you can't do half rating systems on Goodreads, which I hate. That's the one thing I really hate about Goodreads. And my highest rated on Goodreads, so the book that I read that was has the highest rating on Goodreads was A Court of Mist and Fury with 4.67 as an average, and I'm not even surprised. Everyone loves that book. It's amazing. And then that's all the books, all their covers. I love them. It's a very pastel section in the middle there. So, going into the new year, obviously I've worked over the past couple of days at my beginning spreads of my reading journal. So, this year I've got a 24 in 2024 spread, but it's different than last year. So, last year my goal was to read 23 books. So, 23 in 2023. But I feel like obviously I'm going to read more than 24 books this year. You never know. Something will happen and I might not, but probably. So instead, I've got 24 books that I would like to read this year. I haven't fully finished it, writing it out, but I've got some of them written here. So far, I've put The Song of Achilles, Magnolia Parks, Babel, Divine Rivals, Alone with You in the Ether, Daisy Jones and the Six, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, From Lukov with Love, Throne of Glass, They Both Die at the End, Wayward, Say You Swear, Addicted to You, and Haunting Adeline. So I still have 10 spaces to fill, so I haven't decided yet. And what I'll do is I'll colour them in as I read them. And yeah, I've put 24 books I need to read in 2024. I feel like this was very bare, so I added this. Yeah, I'm not good at bubble writing. I'm not proud of that at all, to be honest. But it gets better. So then we've got the bookshelves. So obviously you saw the bookshelves before. We went for nice brown bookshelves, very colourful. This year the theme is black and white. And we've got just like plain lined bookshelves. These two, there's a bigger gap between these two lines than the rest of them. We're ignoring that, okay? And I've used washi tape to kind of make it, it's like a nice grid pattern. Also, we're ignoring the fact that this writing is smaller than this one. Okay, we're just forgetting. But yeah, I'll do the exact same thing though. I'll draw out the books for each month and put something in between them to separate them and colour them in to kind of match the cover. So that'll add some colour. I think it would help that to really like pop, you know? But I might colour with pen rather than pencil just to make it extra colourful. Then we have my physical TBR. We've gone from black and white to pink and gold as a theme. So also, can we just, I don't know how to like, oh, you can kind of see how sparkly that bow washi tape is. It's gorgeous. This is only the first two shelves of this bookcase. I kind of got slightly, I wanted to like get on with my spreads for like while I had the ideas in my head. So yeah, I've got it. So unread, I'll colour them in black when they're red and I'll put an X if I DNF them. So yeah, hopefully I'll have enough because that's two shelves. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to write out and they're all very full. So I'm going to be honest, this might be a bit too full and I haven't got an extra page, so we're just going to have to work with it. Next we have a reading tracker and an author list. So the reading tracker, see, the writing got a lot better, okay? I'm very happy with this page. It's black and white, but it's going to be more colourful when it gets filled out. So I've obviously done the boxes, so it's the days, well, the months of the year and then the days. And then I've got 0 pages will stay blank. And then I'll pick a colour key for these ones. I'm probably going to also probably like put an F or a C, like F for finished or C for completed. If I finish a book in a day, just to see how many times I do that. And then my author list is basically, it goes on to the next page here also. So on this side, it's Lucy Score and Anna Huang. Basically, I've read every Anna Huang book that shows up on Goodreads at least, aside from King of Sloth because it's not out there yet. Lucy Score, I've only read the Knock 'em Out series, but it's basically her backlog and what I want to read. So Lucy Score's got a lot. So then on the other side, I've got Elsie Silver, Lauren Asher, and Sophie Lark. I think those are the authors at the moment that I really just want to read, like everything they've ever written. So yeah, Sophie Lark also has a lot, but not as much as Lucy Score, that is for sure. Yeah. And for Lauren Asher, aside from the second, I've already added, because we already have the name of the second Lakefront Billionaires book, I have the Dirty Air series and I have Love Redesign, so I possibly could have her backlog finished this year. And I would love to read the Gold Rush Ranch series this year, but I haven't got it yet. So hopefully Elsie Silver will be knocked off as well, for like having the backlog read. So that's what I've done so far. I'm keeping this page just in case I need more, if there's any other authors I really like discover this year that I want to read everything of. And then going forward, so last year my spreads looked like this. So I had the month here and then I had like the book cover, the day that I read them, so started and finished, and then like a little brief sort of how I felt about it. This year, I think I'm going to go about that differently. And then I would have like, so I've got like a double page spread here that's set aside for the Twisted series. This year, what I'm going to do, each month is going to look more like this. Not obviously this many books probably, but I'll put the month and then it will be like the cover, the rating, and when I read it. And then for most, if not all books, I will do like a spread of like a proper rating, favourite quotes, thoughts, things like that. Just because I feel like I haven't been very critical about books necessarily. So I just, yeah, I would like to be a bit more critical about them and think, like, I just want to think more critically about books a little bit. Obviously, a lot of it is just for fun. It doesn't really matter what I think. If I'm enjoying it, I'm enjoying it. That's what matters to me. I don't feel like I need to be reading these critically acclaimed literary masterpieces. That's not necessarily what I'm into. Obviously, there's some books I'm probably going to like, but I like me a silly little romance, okay? So, but I'd like to just get in touch with like that more arty side and just have that time set aside to make a spread about a book. And I think it might help me actually remember the book a bit more. And it means I can look back on it and be like, oh yeah, I remember that, you know? So my reading goal this year is going to be 120 books. I'm going to try to read on average 10 books a month. So yeah, we're upping it this time. I feel like there was a few months that were a bit slow. And especially getting into reading in January last year, I was like taking my time with it. But I really do think it's something that I could possibly do if I just keep going as I have been, especially over the last few months. So yeah, 120 books is my goal. I probably won't up it after that for future years unless I was like doing this as a job, in which case then reading would be my job. When I've got a full-time job, it's not very realistic. But it is, yeah. So 120 books is going to be my goal. I'm going to set that up on Goodreads on the 1st of January. There's a few books I really want to get to this year. For starters, I really, like I said before, really want to read the Kingmaker series. I also really want to read the Off-Campus and Briar U series because I've got all those here, and I've got the Great Effect, which is it's like the next series she's sort of starting, continuing that. I also really want to read Magnolia Parks. Ooh, I've just knocked my lady. So we'll get round to that. And Throne of Glass. I need to read Throne of Glass this year. And also Crescent City probably, but mostly Throne of Glass. They're like my main priorities at the moment. I say that none of those books are on my January TBR. My January TBR, it's mostly I'm going to mood read. I want to read Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. And I want to read the rest of the Never After series by Emily McIntyre because obviously I've started Hooked. I own the rest of them. I want to finish those and then that's that series done. After that, we'll probably look at other series that I really want to get through, like the Kingmaker series, Briar U, Off Campus, Magnolia Parks, whatever. So, and then of course the other books I really want to get to is the ones I mentioned on my 24 and 2024. So again, I need to look over my shelves and be like, which ones of these do I really need to read? Also, yeah, the Gold Rush Ranch series and the Dirty Air series. I need those. I need to read those so much. So yeah, I feel very overwhelmed with how many books I need to read and how many books but it's not even how much I need to read, it's how much I want to read. There's so many different ones and I can't even choose where to start because there's too many options now. So I really want to get my TBR down. I said in my last video, well, I didn't say, my camera died and I had to type it out at the end. I'm going to be on a book buying ban for January and February. So no books will be bought in January. Possibly not February either. This camera's about to die. Let me start it again. And then after that, I'm probably only going to let myself buy books that equal less than the amount I read the month before. So say in February, I read 10 books. It means in March, I can only buy less than 10 books. As like the most, I would say the most books I could buy would be 9. So I want to finish this year with my TBR smaller than I started off with, which I currently don't know how much that is. I will count and put the number here for you, so you know. And I'm only counting this like shelf. I've got a couple of books downstairs. I'm not counting those because I don't even know when I'm going to read them. And there's a few classics there. It's too much for me. There's not many books there, but they're not like my nice like fiction books that I'm really excited to read. So yeah, it's just this bookshelf. So I will count them now for you and put them on screen. that's how many books I've started out 2024 in with. So we'll see at the end of 2024 how many books I then have. Hopefully it's less than that by quite a bit, because like I say, I'm very overwhelmed now with how many books I have. But I enjoy it also. I really enjoy it, so I'm not really that bothered. Anyway, that is it for this video. That is it for this year. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. Leave a comment down below, because it does apparently help the algorithm. Let me know what your year's been like, how many books you read this year. Obviously, it's not a competition, it's not a race. Any books that you read is any book is good book, basically. Anything you've read is always good. Even if you only read one book and you just like to consume book content on YouTube, that is fair enough. Let me know what book it was and how it was down below. I would love to know. But yeah, I'm going to try and have a bit more of a solid schedule next year. I possibly want to take a crack at streaming also on Twitch. Possibly, we will see. I have a nice mic for it. It's very pretty. She pretty. So yeah, I'm gonna go anyway. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. I will see you next year. Not to be that person, but I will see you next year. Okay, bye.